Hello, you're on the air live with ArchieLuxury, and we've got John SUCKAHORN. John SUCKAHORN is here as well, and we've got a very special guest. We've got Clyde. Clyde, it's Clyde, isn't it? It's not Clive, it's Clyde. Clyde.
Clive is cooler. I can deal with Clive.
Okay. Now, I got to tell you, today we're doing a couple of live shows. We've got quite a lot of people love this segment. Now, guys, just remember, you don't want to have the session going in the background. If you've got the live show going in the background, you've got to turn the volume down. Otherwise, we get the delayed echo, you know, that dreaded delayed echo. But you can have a session open as long as you turn the sound off so you can see the comments from these other fuckers that are out there. But look, let's have a talk today. We've got quite a few topics to talk about. So I like to keep these topics short. Well, you know, 20-minute, 30-minute live shows, and we do a couple. That way there people can find the one they're interested in. So today, without further ado, I want to talk about Basel World. So Basel World, just for everyone who's listening there, that's the yearly watch show in Switzerland, Basel, Switzerland. And this is where the big makers release a lot of exciting things. Interestingly enough, the Richemont company, they don't release at Basel. They release in Geneva. So brands like JEWELLERY, Vacheron aren't releasing here. They go to the Geneva show. So anyhow, Basel World has got huge players like Patek, Rolex, Omega. You got some really big, heavy-hitting guys there. So I was going to show a few things on the screen so we could just review them. So, Clyde, I want to introduce. Oh, let's just introduce SUCKAHORN. Hello, John. How are you?
G'day, Arch. How are you, mate? How's it going?
Hey, not too bad there. Not too bad at all. And we've got Clyde. Say hello, Clyde.
Hello, Clyde.
Great. And okay, so this is a very interesting thing. Let's start with John. John, anything exciting from Basel World? You've saw my vids and you've looked around a bit. Anything exciting?
Oh, I think one of the major controversies at the moment is we're talking about Basel World and which companies are producing new items. Rolex has put a Cyclops on the Sea Dweller, haven't they? That's
yeah, that's right. It's a red Sea Dweller.
Well,
a red Sea Dweller.
Is that not? That's just to do it to distract from the double red, isn't it?
Look, it goes back. See, what happens is Rolex is very shitty at the collector market because that vintage market, Rolex don't make jack shit from the collector market. You understand? They make money selling new watches. I'm actually going to share this on the screen now, guys.
Okay.
We'll get this on the screen. So this is actually from the Rolex website if anyone's wondering where I've got this from. So what Rolex has done is for this year's Basel World releases, they've got the special Sea Dweller, and look at that, the writing, Sea Dweller is in red. Now, they did that many years ago in the 70s when it first came out, and those are very valuable. You remember, John, Craig Teal Jones, he had that Sea Dweller, is, you know, the red, double red Sea Dweller. That's where that red comes in, see?
Yes, I understand that. But it never had the Cyclops on it before, did it?
Oh, no, that's a completely new thing. And
look, don't get me wrong about Rolex. You know, look, they're certainly the greatest brand in the world. But when I've always looked at them, I've always found that the Cyclops, you know, detracts away from the dial. That's just my personal opinion. And yes,
it's a double-edged sword because that Cyclops is sort of a hallmark of Rolex. That's what makes them so famous. But
who don't like the Cyclops, You know, there we go. Well done, Clyde. Well done, Clyde. There's an example for us.
But put that back up, Clyde. What watch is? Oh, that's your sea dweller. That's right, pre-ceramic sea dweller.
05.
So you're right, John.
Right. Let's ask. You know, did you buy that specifically because it didn't have a have the Cyclops on it, Clyde?
Well, you know, actually, I'm aiming for a collection. I wanted a dive watch, but it seems like everyone has a Submariner, and it seems like half the time, by keeping along with forums, like people get the Submariner, and then the next logical move is to get the Sea Dweller or deep sea. So I figured I would just kind of go past the introductory stage and go right to the Sea Dweller. And it's really weird because on the used market where I'm at, the Sea Dweller is not that much more than the sub because the subs are so prized.
Yes.
Funny thing is, I was just right after I bought mine, pawn shop down the street from the office had a Sea. Of course, after I drove to Texas and back, pawn shop down the street had one. Same, you know, 16600 like mine, and it had a Cyclops, and I was arguing with them saying that's got to be a fake watch. See, you know, and then the irony is that Rolex does it themselves. The what they claim is
I don't know if it was fake, Clive. What it could possibly be is that someone sent it in for service, and Rolex doesn't supply these parts readily, so they could have got a generic crystal. You can get generic crystals, which are sort of like aftermarket crystals. So the watch could have been genuine, but you are correct in the fact that the Sea Dweller never had the Cyclops. It never had the Cyclops. That was always the thing about the Sea Dweller. And I got to tell you, John, and I got to tell you, Clyde, I really think they've let the cat amongst the pigeons. Now, let me just say this to you, right? Times are tough in the world, okay? China is not buying as much. The economy is a bit flat. You know, there's all sorts of troubles over there. In the rest of the world, we've got the Trumpster. Things aren't so great. So you look at this. This is a very cheap way to get a lot of excitement. It's nothing really revolutionary they've done, is it?
Well, after you,
sorry,
John.
Well, getting back to my question, will that detract or add to their sales on the Sea Dweller? You know, if I was out to buy a Rolex, you know, I'd look to a Sea Dweller because it doesn't have the Cyclops on. I said I don't like the Cyclops, you know, because I believe it, you know, it distracts from the dial. All right, you can see the date better, but you only have to look at that once a day, don't you? You know the date. You know, otherwise you might watch a dozen times a day, maybe. And to me, it's a distraction. So who am I to judge? You know, whether, you know, Rolex is, you know right or wrong, but you know, maybe that distract from, you know, the market they had specifically in that Sea Dweller.
Now,
the early days.
Now, the other exciting thing is, guys, I'm going to share this screen. What they've done is, this is very clever. They've gone and released the Sky Dweller. That was only available in precious metal. They've gone and released it in two-tone, and I was actually mistaken. I didn't read it fully. They've also released it in steel with a white gold bezel. Can you believe this, boys? Now, I tell you what I think that tells you. I think it tells you that it's not selling as well as they thought. That's what it tells me. It's not selling as well as they thought. And they've actually they've had to put it into a less expensive form. So they've made steel version and they've got a two-tone version. What do you reckon, Clyde? Do you like it?
No, it's a little bit too busy, quite frankly. But correct me if I'm wrong. Isn't that traditionally a Rolex move, is to introduce the new hot thing in the precious metals and then let it gradually work down to the more common elements?
It depends on the model. Like the date, that's really only been precious metal.
Mm-hmm.
It's more of a Cartier thing. Cartier Richemont does that. They release it in gold originally, then they have the two-tone, then they have the steel. But Rolex, no. Rolex has been so long established. They normally, their brands, their models. Rolex is so slow to release new models. I mean, what have they released in the last 30 years? The Yachtmaster came out, which was basically, it was a revised Submariner, a little bit more dressy Submariner. They don't really bring out a lot of, I mean, you look at, well, what is the revolutionary things they've done, okay? Rolex has had, in the 70s, they had the Explorer 2, which was really just a revised GMT. Then they had the Sea Dweller. You've got the Explorer 2, hey, that's great. And then they don't release a lot of new models. Rolex isn't a fashion brand. They are a solid brand. And you're not a big Rolex fan, are you, John?
No.
They piss you off, don't they?
They don't piss me off. I just wouldn't purchase one myself. I don't decry anyone, buying. In fact, I respect people, who look to a Rolex. They're the ultimate brand. The greatest companies, in existence.
Well, I mean, John, they're probably, Patek is better. Brands like that are better. But most people on their rich fucker list, when they become a rich fucker, they want to buy a Rolex, don't they? That's what they want to do. They want to buy a Rolex. Like Clyde, you're a successful lawyer. You want to buy a Rolex, don't you?
Yeah, and actually, all my attorney friends, when we sit around the defense table, I kind of keep track of the watches, and Rolex by far is the predominant brand, except for the younger guys, and they have like a freaking, gold-covered alarm clock on their wrist.
Oh, I see. Got you. And Clyde, you've always wanted a Rolex, haven't you? When was the first time you wanted a Rolex? Tell me this.
No, years. But to me, Rolex was just something that only, the likes that the really rich could have.
And you went to law school, but Clyde, I mean, you've really done some hard yards, haven't you?
Yeah, I've been in my time like everybody else. You can't skimp on the foundation. No,
you can't skimp on the foundation. So the question is, John, the other thing is, John, is that they've times are tough, so they've released it in a cheaper metal. And I got to tell you the truth, boys. It's fucking nasty stuff when they start cheapening brands. See, what they're doing is money's very tight, so they're just changing the dial, just very small. They're not doing revolutionary new shit. It's just, how much does
Didn't they change the bezel? Didn't they change the bezel on the Yachtmaster, and they've made it look like rainbow gems on the bezel?
Look, these are just little tweaks. They do a few little tweaks, but they haven't done anything really revolutionary. Now, I tell you what, you guys have got to understand, the world is in, we're in, which it's hard times. It is hard times indeed. And I don't think things are going to get better in a hurry. And John, you're a retired guy. You've got your Longines, so you come from a different era. You bought your thin gold Longines from Hardy Brothers, who was fucking expensive jeweler. Not much discount from those fuckers. You bought it years ago. Would you ever get what watch would you get if you were going to buy a watch? Would you buy a watch, or you're not really? What's your go? What's your caper, SUCKAHORN?
If funds were unlimited,
yeah,
Vacheron.
You'd buy a Vacheron?
Yeah.
Okay, that sounds good. And how about you, Clyde? What would you buy if your funds were unlimited?
That's a toughie. I'd really have to think about that because I do have enough watches right now.
You do.
I already have what I like. I mean, I guess I could get a newer day date, but that would just make it a little bit easier to set the time.
Yes, I understand what you're saying. The other amazing thing about Basel World is that Rolex has gone back in sizes. Did you know what they've done is they were getting bigger and bigger and bigger. They've moved back. They've changed the proportions. The date just now is date just 41. It's they've brought the proportions back a little bit. This big size is moving a little bit back the other way now, guys. And speaking of the devil, I want to ask you boys this. We'll ask SUCKAHORN first. SUCKAHORN, I'm gonna bring something up on the screen here, and you can have a look. This is the new Omega. I want your opinion on this Omega here.
That's revolting.
What do you think of that Omega?
You wouldn't wear it to a shit fight unless you're the target, would you?
You can grab that, John, if you want to. Do you want to grab that?
No, it's okay. You wouldn't wear it to a shit fight, would you?
What do you think of the new Big Blue? The Big Blue, Clyde.
I think it's radical departure. I like I mean, would I spend the funds to get one? No, I would pay attention to someone that had one. But at least they're doing something different. They're doing something bold to try to catch everyone's attention. And like these.
The young man's watch, isn't it? You wouldn't wear it your age, would you, Clyde?
No.
It's quite expensive. It's quite expensive. It's a GMT ceramic.
You just asked if you liked it or not. You didn't ask if you could afford it.
It's not really a good value proposition.
It's a Lear's watch, isn't it?
Well, it's a dive watch, right?
Yeah.
So you really need to know what the time zone is when you're underwater, or how long are you going to spend?
Well, it depends. If you're in the Bermuda Triangle and you get lost, you can work out the time.
Okay. It's trying to be everything, I guess. They want to get, dive watches and GMT, I guess, but complication doesn't really need.
You don't like it, John? John, you don't like it? Yes, no?
No, not one bit.
Clyde, do you like it?
Not one bit.
I think it's intriguing. I don't think I'd buy one. I don't know if I'd spend someone else's money to buy one.
Okay, next watch. This is actually
the question, Clyde. Do you like it or not?
Yeah, I do like it. I mean, I like it a little bit. Yeah.
You likes it. Okay, that's okay. Now, Clyde, I'm going to bring up another watch. I want you to tell me whether you like it or not. And this is the new. This is quite a cool watch. This is from Patek. Patek's actually bringing out this blue. Tell me what you think. Tell me what you think indeed. This new blue. What do you think, guys?
Why would Patek put such a wonderful timepiece on a rubber band?
Oh no! Well, this is the Aquanaut. That's for the. It's always it's for the super rich. I'll tell you who wears that. Ringo Starr has an Aquanaut.
Someone's got an imitation one, haven't they?
Sorry?
Someone's got an imitation one, haven't they?
Oh no, that was a Nautilus.
Oh, sorry.
But I tell you who else has got one. Paul McCartney. It's kind of that really rich fucker who wants to be casual. But do you like that blue? That blue. Patek seems to be. That's one thing that's happening this year at Basel World is they're going for this blue. And they've also done it. This is one of my favorite watches of all time. I'm just going to bring it up, boys, so just bear with me. This is this is an annual calendar. It's a 5396 with that new Starburst blue dial. I think it's Starburst. It's a bluish. What do you think? Do you like it, John? Yes or no? Yes or no? Yes or no?
Yes, that's attractive to my eye.
Clyde?
It is attractive. I do like the blue and the gold. However, how do I put it? It's almost like they're changing it's almost like marketing. They're changing the dial a little bit so you could distinguish who has this year's watch versus last year's watch.
Well,
it's like Apple with their iPhone colors.
You are so right, because it's a very cheap. It doesn't cost them a lot of money to do that, does it?
I don't know.
Instead of having a white dial, you have a dark blue dial. That doesn't really cost much in production run, does it? It's a very inexpensive way to have a big difference, which is a shame, because Patek is supposed to be classic. They are a lifetime thing you have for. I don't understand why they're moving into this fashion industry bullshit. I'm angry about that, but they're under pressure to bring in exciting shit every year. You know what I mean? That's what they need to do. They got to bring in exciting shit.
Well, it's like good black suits never go on sale because they're perennials.
Exactly. Now, guys, I'm gonna bring up another picture.
Can I backtrack for a second about the Sea Dweller?
Sure, you can backpack.
Backtrack just for a second.
Actually, I'm going to bring it up on the screen here. Just hang on. I will get that up on the screen now. This is the new red sea dweller with the Cyclops. Keep talking, Clive. Continue.
Well, actually, someone made a little funny on the board saying that it's the Jewish watch. Sea Dweller, red Sea Dweller. Sorry. As for the
I don't get the joke. Can you explain the joke?
Jews are known as Red Sea pedestrians.
Oh, okay. I don't get it. I don't get this American humor.
That was
it's got nothing to do with American humor. It's coming out of where did the Jews come from when they left Egypt?
Oh, I see. The Red Sea. Okay.
That's
gotcha.
That's Monty Python, Archie. That's not exactly American, but yeah. But as for the Cyclops, it might be more popular. I mean, one of the things you're talking about is that it seems like the brand about Rolex is that they don't do all these radical changes, sort of like the Richmond Group, different dials, different colors and styles every year. And it seems like sometimes when Rolex makes a tiny bit of a misstep or does a little aberration, it seems like those are the ones that seem to can gain the most value, doesn't it?
You're right. You're right. It's also look. The thing is this. I think the Red Sea Dweller is going to be successful. I think it's because Rolex is very fucking clever now. What they're doing is they're cashing in on the collector market. Rolex never really liked the collector market because they never made any money out of it. They're a bunch of cunts at times. So now they've reintroduced the Red Sea Dweller. This is going to be a very, very popular watch. It's going to be a very hot watch. I actually, to tell you the quite honest truth there, I think it's amazing. I love it.
Well, I got to disagree with you.
Because it's a Submariner. I love the Cyclops. I love it. I love it. Well, if someone gave me one, I'd fucking kiss their ass forever.
Okay. Well, I think if they take it off next year, if they take up the Cyclops, then I think those will be the one that everyone will kill themselves to get.
Okay. Thank you, Clyde.
But actually, I don't think. Yeah, Rolex. Keep in mind, when I go I buy secondhand. But what's nice is that Rolex, the authorized dealers, will substantiate or authenticate used models.
Now,
unlike other brands.
Razzle Dazzle Baselworld, let me just tell you this. I've got one of my staff reporters has gone there for this channel.
Who's that?
That's my friend who's the lawyer. You know, Descartes. He's the guy with the platinum world time.
That's right. Okay, yes.
He's actually sent me some photos. I got some really good photos live from Baselworld. So I'll be releasing them very soon. Now, guys, we're gonna cut this live show now. This has been great. We had a little bit of a chat about Basel World. It's interesting. I think, you know, the thing that I think is what's happened is they're releasing stuff which doesn't really cost a lot for them to do, because the world is a bit fucked. Okay, China isn't buying like they used to. The world economy is a bit fucking harsh.
What's the movement? Just before we go, what's that movement in that sea dweller?
Oh, look! They've actually revised it. They've got a new. I think they got a silicon mainspring in the fucking thing. But look, it's basically the same movement. They use the same fucking. They use the same movement throughout the whole fucking sports. That movement is used in many things. It's their automatic type movement. It's nothing. It's their own in-house movement. Yes. It's their own in-house movement, but it's. I don't know. Everything's fucked in this world, guys. I'm really a bit shitty about the whole way the world has gone, because they want you to only service it through them. Independent watchmakers are fucking being shafted. So, guys, we're going to cut this now. Are you guys going to come back on the next live show?
Yeah, why not?
Okay. Let's cut it now, and I'll send you the link in a couple minutes. Please join us, boys.
Thanks, Archie. SUCKAHORN!
Don't disappear yet. We're still there. Oh, no, he's left the Skype.
Oh, well.
we can stay talking. Don't worry about the live show.
Yeah, fuck it. Oh.
Good on you, mate. Good on you. You know the process. You have to stand on top of your Is he emailing you the link, Clyde?
Oh, shit, I'll have to look. I'll have to minimize this a little bit. Link 1. Not yet. But I've got my email browser open. I just can't see it.
It'll take him a minute or two just to set up the next show, and then he'll come back with us.
What's funny, though, is that there's a friend of mine who bought a brand new Datejust 2 from the dealer. I'm like, oh, Chris. Yeah. And it's a beautiful looking watch. Then I showed him, my, make sure I'm holding up the right way. Then I showed him my Milgauss, and he was comparing it very favorably to his Datejust.
Yeah, good, yes.
Yeah, it's just like, I paid a third of this what you paid on yours brand new, right?
Yeah, well, it's joking. It all comes down to the dollars in the end, doesn't it? By comparison.
Well, or throwing them away in this case. It's like, I hope they kissed your ass really good and well.
One thing I've learned in life, Clive, you can't eat prestige. You should have the link now, Clive.
I'm doing it. I will.
So we get out of this one, we start again.